I am here outside of Music Millennium in Portland, Oregon.
8-bit joystick.
Vinyl records are back in a big way, and to their devoted fans, they never really went away. The vinyl record has gotten its revenge on the compact disc. The music industry has been reissuing new pressings of classic music on vinyl records as well as new music, and vinyl fans have been loving it. In 2023, there were 43 million vinyl record sales in the US, according to the RIAA. In 2023, records outsold CDs by 6 million, and that's not the first time that it's happened. You know the RIAA. That's the people that said that Napster used CD sales and taping songs off the radio with a cassette tape was going to put the music industry out of business, but I digress. Vinyl records are also priced at a premium with a target towards fans and collectors. Last year, the music industry made $1.4 billion selling vinyl records compared to just $537 million in compact discs. So with these new vinyl records, you can tell that it's not an original pressing because it actually says so right there on the jacket sleeve and on the record. Record fans love having vinyl in their hands, and they get a lot out of the ritual of putting it on the turntable. They love the tactile experience of playing real physical media. They love the packaging, the nostalgia, and the music. And with vinyl, you are deliberately spending your time focusing on the music. You are less likely to multi-slack and be distracted. You are more likely to listen to an entire album and give it your undivided attention. The sound of vinyl records definitely does have its own experience. Hey, thank you very much for watching this, and it would really help out if you were to subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. Now, why the heck am I going on about vinyl records on this YouTube channel? Well, I think that Nintendo and Sega should start manufacturing retro video game systems and cartridges again. One of the advantages of vinyl is the personal act of finding the album that you want to play, taking it out of the sleeve, setting it on the turntable, putting the needle on the record. Both video games and vinyl records are physical things that you can touch. They are the physical embodiment of the time that you've spent with that particular creative work. For video game fans, it's not that different. I go to my cartridges, I run my hand over them, I pick one out, and I put it in the system and turn it on. Some retro video game enthusiasts enjoy having a physical box with a manual and a slipcover, not unlike the ritual of the vinyl record. Fans get a hit of dopamine when they run their hands over the cartridge or an album. It's just not the same selecting an image of a ROM file in an emulator or selecting a digital file on a streaming service. Nintendo and Sega need to totally tap into that and make physical cartridges again. Fans would line up to buy a new edition of a classic game. They could either tweak the game slightly or they could just leave them unaltered. And if they just had a little label change to show that it's not original cartridge, collectors would gladly eat that up. Just imagine if there was a Nintendo vintage selection of classic NES games. Just imagine if you could buy all of the 16-bit Sonic the Hedgehog games in a deluxe collector's package with cases and stylized cosmetically cool cartridges. Heck, they wouldn't even have to sell these in major retail stores or worry about getting them into Walmart because the retro game stores will gladly sell them, and they could also sell them online directly to the fans. The company who I think Nintendo and Sega should take inspiration from is Disney, and the whole Disney Vault artificial scarcity scheme of VHS releases of older movies. In the 1980s and 90s, Disney would manufacture huge consumer demand by taking their older movies and selectively releasing them for a period of time. And then they would take them off the market and then swap them out for a different selection of their older movies. Right now, Nintendo is content to rent access to their older libraries of games through emulation on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and Sega has had emulation collections of Genesis Mega Drive games for decades now, but that just doesn't do much for the fans that want something physical that they can hold in their hands. Nintendo fans are willing to shell out for limited editions of Nintendo World Championships NES Edition for Switch just to get a decorative NES cartridge that doesn't work. If they can make a bunch of money selling cartridges that don't work, just imagine how much they could actually make if they actually made real cartridges that do work. The older that a technology gets, the more cost effective it is to manufacture. They don't even have to build new factories. Since Nintendo and Sega got out of the 16 and 8-bit cartridge business, there has been a rise in high-tech manufacturing subcontractors in China and other parts of Asia. The pirate cartridges that are being made profitably in China these days are actually really good quality, especially compared to older bootleg cartridges. It is crazy that there is a demand for retro video game systems and retro video game cartridges that's being met by bootlegs and pirates. And if Nintendo really wanted to do something about it, they would put out their own official versions and sell NES and Famicom cartridges again. Now, there are a couple options of how they can do this. If Nintendo would manufacture new versions of The Legend of Zelda with the gold cartridge and the maps and the guide, people would line up to buy them. If they would make new copies of Earthbound with the guides and the smelling cartridge scratch-off, by God, people would stand outside in the snow for a chance to pre-order them. Nintendo and Sega could put out some multi-cart cartridges that would run on classic systems and clone systems. Retrobit, Limited Run, and Columbus Circle has been doing this for ages, and it has been awesome. They could also publish indie 8-bit and 16-bit games. The indie NES development scene has gotten really good as of late. Many indie game developers would freaking love to have their game released by Nintendo or Sega. Do you know how many collectors of NES cartridges would jump at the opportunity to add another game to their official NES collection? It's a lot. Companies like Hyperkin and Retrobit have been manufacturing clone consoles for a profit, and companies like Analog and Retro USB have been selling FPGA-based clone consoles profitably. It would totally make sense for Nintendo and Sega to get back into the game and manufacture new 8-bit and 16-bit consoles for their fans. Western retro game fans have been having an easier time getting decent retro game clone consoles than Japan. They do have them, but they are a much lower quality compared to what we have in the US, and yet they have a huge retro game fan base, and most of them just use original hardware. The Retro USB AVS should have been a Nintendo product. If they made an FPGA-accurate NES or Famicom that had HDMI output, it would fly off the shelves. They don't even have to reinvent the wheel to do it. There are already FPGA projects out there that they could use as a start. Nintendo actually used the iNES file format for the Wii Virtual Console, and Sony used the PCSX rearmed emulator project for the PlayStation Classic Mini Console. Nintendo and Sega are for-profit corporations, and if enough people are interested, then they might actually want to get in on the physical retro game collector market that's currently only being served by other companies and piracy. If they actually made cartridges again, they would put the games in the hands of the people that crave and are willing to pay for them. Hey, thank you very much for watching this video, and it would really help out if you would subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. Tune in next week. The video will be Beat Inflation, Play Retro. Were old games cheaper? You know, since you stayed to the end, you might be down with playing retro video games on cartridges, so you should totally check out my video, Hyperkin Retron HD System, Cartridges and HDMI the Easy Way. Thanks for watching. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome. Play retro.